Hello, welcome to Faces of VJ, a podcast proudly brought to you by Victorians as we share with you our personal journey via Victoria. In this podcast, we'll be hearing more from the performing arts leaders about their CCAs and their experiences. But first, can I get you guys to first introduce yourselves?
Hi everyone, I'm Jolene and I'm the chairperson of dance.
Hello everyone, I'm Ruben and I'm the chairperson of band.
Hi everyone, I'm McGill and I'm the chairperson of choir.
Hi everyone, I'm Kyan and I'm the chairperson of Chinese Orchestra.
Alright, great. Glad that you guys were able to join us today. So let's get right into the thick of things. Right. Whenever I come across VJ performing arts CCAs, there's always one thing that really intrigues me and that is that every single member seems to be so amazing at whatever they do. Which kind of makes me wonder, do you guys have any prerequisites or any requirements for members to have prior experiences before joining your CCA? Perhaps we can start with dance.
So for dance, I think that you definitely don't need any prior experience to join. And you can take my batch for an example. Half of our batch definitely didn't have any prior experience before they joined the CCA.
Wow.
But through all the training sessions and all the hard work that we've put in, we've all actually improved very significantly. And from my position as the CC leader of dance, I've actually seen my batchmates improve a lot. And when they first came into the CCA, they didn't have any confidence in themselves and they didn't want to stand in front of the CCA during our training practices. But then now, some of them have stepped up to volunteer and to be choreographers for our various events and performances, and they've definitely had a lot more confidence in themselves. So I thought that this growth was actually very heartwarming to witness, and so I'm sure that anyone who has enough passion and interest would definitely not need any prior experience to join.
Yeah, so for band, prior musical experience isn't necessarily a requirement to join either. But with that said, we actually look out for people who had musical experience in the past, such as piano when they were younger, guzheng or handbells from secondary school. We also accept people with no musical experience at all, though we usually try to find out if they'll have the time and dedication to practice a new instrument. However, what I would say is, if you think that, maybe I won't join band because I wasn't from band in secondary school, I would still encourage you to try out because quite a few of my seniors and some of my batchmates weren't actually from band in secondary school. However, with a bit of work, you're able to catch up with the others.
Right, great.
Yeah, so just like what the previous two have mentioned, prior experience actually will not also affect you joining Chinese orchestra and stuff. In fact, we actually welcome members who want to try something new, try a new instrument. Because Chinese orchestra, we play Chinese instruments, and this kind of instruments we don't usually see on a daily basis. And it's a good skill to pick up, and it's very interesting to learn. And personally for me, performing together as an orchestra is very enriching. And joining a performing arts CCA in VJC provides you ample opportunity to play with others, such as our concerts and SYF that we take part in.
Similar to the other performing arts CCAs, I think everyone has already quite covered it, that it's not a requirement for our members to have prior experience before joining choir. So all we ask from a choir member actually is just to have the passion and love for singing, as well as to be committed to the CCA by putting your best effort in every practice. Being in a performing arts CCA, you'll naturally be given many opportunities to perform in front of a huge crowd. So I think it's important for one to have confidence and stage presence because it will definitely allow you to perform better. But I believe that as long as you have interest in the CCA, you'll definitely be given a wonderful experience.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible. I think one thing that's popped up quite a lot is interest in the performing arts. I think there's a huge cultural value to it, and for a lot of the performers, so there's huge intrinsic value, right? And let's say I'm one of the younger listeners, and I'm actually excited to join your CCAs after this, and I actually end up being able to take part in any one of your activities. What are some key events that you guys actually run, in your whole circuit, your whole calendar?
For performing arts, we typically have 2 major events in a year, and these usually consist of a concert and, of course, our school's music fest. So for dance, we usually hold a concert every alternate year, and during this concert, we are able to showcase different pieces of different genres, and it's really quite amazing because we are able to showcase all our skills that we've gained from the very tough training sessions. And in my opinion, the adrenaline rush that we feel leading up to any major event, like for example a concert or a performance, is really quite incredible.
Yeah, I totally agree with what Julian just said. I think Music Fest would definitely be the event I look forward the most. For choir, we actually hold our annual concert called the Symphony of Voices at Esplanade with a different theme every year. So an opportunity like this sure doesn't come very easily for most people, and it's really very exhilarating. So at our last concert, we actually went with a roses theme where the choir sang songs such as Red Roses for a Blue Lady and Spotless Rose.
Yeah, so we also have the Singapore Youth Festival, which is held like once every 2 years, where all like performing arts CCA all look forward to it lah. Because it's like a competition where we like showcase whatever we've learned throughout the past 2 years as an orchestra. And for CO, definitely we also have our annual concert titled Rhapsody. So during this concert, we have like a bunch of songs that we put together to play as an orchestra. And it's just there for us to showcase whatever we've picked up and learned together.
And yeah, like Kayan said, we cannot forget SYF, and SYF could pretty much count as the most important event for each and every performing arts CCA. And it actually so happens that we are preparing for SYF this year. So SYF is an event that allows performing arts CCAs to showcase our talents and teamwork as a whole CCA, and I guess the feeling of getting that much wanted distinction is really all the hard work and sacrifices that we've put in throughout the past 2 years or so.
Yeah, so just like the others have said, SYF is perhaps the most important event for all the performing arts CCAs, and band is no exception. Usually, if you're in band, you have two key events to look forward to, which are SIF and Limelight at Esplanade. However, in addition to that, the band also puts up additional performances, such as a performance at PLQ in 2019, and more recently, a virtual band performance for Victorian Affair 2020.
Yeah, that's great. And for listeners out there, in case you're wondering, for SYF Singapore Youth Festival, it is a platform for all the performing arts to showcase whatever they've been able to practice throughout the year. And of course, getting distinction is the highest level of achievement that is possible. And at VJ, we have a pretty good record, right? I think all your CCAs have been doing wonderfully at being able to put up impressive performances all around. And likewise, Victorian Affair, it's a yearly event. And last year, we had a concert, a live segment. I remember the band was performing, dance performed as well, right? There's a lot of platforms for all your different CCAs to actually step up and perform. And yeah, it's incredible, not just in front of the school, but also the entire nation. And I'd imagine, for all these performances, there is the adrenaline rush that, of course, Jolene talked about earlier. But of course, everyone, I think, has to work super hard just to perfect all your different pieces. And I'm just curious, what are some comments that you guys have, or some thoughts that you guys have regarding practice?
Yeah, so in choir, we actually usually have practices twice a week during non-performance seasons. But when it comes to our preparation for the concert or SYF, we actually increase it to thrice a week. So the first half will usually be when the choir breaks into their respective sections and practice together before coming together during the second half, where we'll sing together under our conductor. So although this may seem very hectic, it's always very heartening, to attend practices together, knowing that your other members in choir are going through this semi-hard journey with you.
Yeah, similar to choir, band normally has practices twice a week, but during competition or performance season, we ramp it up to thrice a week. And on Tuesdays, we just have sectionals, while on Saturdays, after sectionals, we have a 1.5 hour break before coming back to practice as a full band under our conductor.
Yeah, so for CO, it's just like what they have mentioned already. We have 2 practices during non-competition period and 3 during competition period. And we have sectionals on Wednesday and combined practice together on Saturdays.
And like the others have mentioned, it gets really tough and practice sessions get even more intense during performance season, and this is no different for dance as well. So similarly, we usually amp up our training sessions to 3 times or 4 times a week during performance seasons. And I know this seems very daunting and super draining, but in reality, we all actually get some sort of adrenaline rush that like I mentioned earlier. And this is because we can have the expectation of being able to show off like all the hard work that we've put in for so long to prepare for just one performance. And for me personally, I really do love each training session that my CCA has, because even if our coach gives us super draining exercises like PT or just like repetitive exercises, the fact that I know that this will definitely help us to put up an even better performance really makes all of it worth it.
Yeah, definitely. Like for us performers, when we see like our schoolmates or the audiences that come to watch our performance leave the theater with a smile, it really like puts us in a good feeling because it just shows us that we actually put up a very good performance for them and it just like let us have a sense of relief, I guess, when like we finally get to like perform such a good performance and all our months of like hard work together as one orchestra or one body finally like pays off.
Yeah, the performances are definitely the highlight of your journeys, right? But of course, the process, the journey is almost just as important as the end product, right? I would think during the training sessions, you guys alluded to them. They can get incredibly tough. How do you guys actually cope with how tough these practices can get?
I think the support from the people in the CCA sure does make the whole experience a lot more memorable and enjoyable lah. So actually one of my favorite things about choir practices will be how we celebrate our choir members' birthday. So choir had this cute little tradition where the birthday boy or girl will get to come in front of the whole entire choir and conduct us into singing a happy birthday song for them. So although this may be a bit cheesy and quite funny, but it's I think one of the things that the choir do together that we will leave VJ with this very sweet memory and it's an experience we'll never forget.
I think that's something I think we've rarely heard of. I think even in your secondary schools, for the listeners out there, having your CCA do this, I think that's a pretty wonderful thing to have, right? And I think likewise, not just your CCA mates, having supportive teachers as well, I think certainly will make your whole JC experience a lot less boring, from multiple fronts. And we can move on a little bit. CCA life in general in JC compared to your own secondary school experiences. I'm pretty sure for most of you guys will be carrying on from the CCA that you had back in secondary school. Has it been a huge change, and what kind of changes have you guys had, or in fact has it kind of stayed the same?
Yeah, I think for me, I was from band in secondary school too. There was quite a bit of a jump between JC and Sec 4 CCA life because, well, of course in JC, academics is a big part, and here I feel like there's a greater need to balance my time between academics and CCA. And a big difference will be realizing that you seem to have lesser time to do even more things. And if you have a leadership position or you're part of the EXCO, this feeling is amplified.
Yeah, so definitely if you're in EXCO, you have like a lot more stuff to do, as Ruben mentioned. Like you have a bunch of more commitments to do because we have like projects. And in the CCA itself, we are given more authority, more creative space to like try new different things with our own CCAs. And taking on a leadership role, you definitely have lesser time. And you would have to really manage your time well in order to ensure that you're able to balance both academics and your CCA life.
Rupert seems pretty passionate about this. I think it's a little bit of, it's some more stuff to add.
Yeah, like it does get quite stressful sometimes, but I think along the way, you learn to manage your time better and dedicate like enough time to do well in both your CCA and your academics. Because another big difference between JC and Sec 4 life is the people in your CCA. Because in JC, everyone is going through JC life together, and people are more supportive and understanding when they're stressed. So if you're ever like feeling down or having a tough time, they'll always be there to support you.
Yeah, and like Kyan and Ruben said, it's definitely a lot more high commitment in JC, and this is because we definitely have a lot more training sessions a week, and the hours are way longer as well. But it's precisely because it's more difficult that I actually find myself growing closer to my CCA mates. And like Ruben mentioned, the community that we form is actually a really big part of it as well. For my CCA, because of the different practices that we have to go through together and the different performance that we have to put up together, we've managed to somehow form a family-like culture in the CCA. And I think it's just really unique that we are able to do that. And this definitely helps CCA to be a lot more enjoyable in JC compared to secondary school, because it does not feel like a compulsory thing to do. Like I actually do look forward to going to each and every training session that dance has, compared to secondary school and ours. Sometimes I would like not really want to go because I thought it was more of a compulsory thing to do. So yeah, I think it's a lot more different in JC.
I guess what we're trying to say there is as long as you have the right attitude towards your CCAs and your studies, you'll definitely have a great time in VJ for sure.
Yeah, I think passion, that's the kind of overarching theme when it comes to performing arts, right? And of course, the more you put into your CCA not just the CCA, even your studies as well, the more you're able to get out of it. I think you guys, you've poured your heart and souls into your CCA. I think you guys have had a lot of wonderful experiences to share, and a huge thank you for that. Once again, we've had Julie, McGill, Ruben, and Kyan, our 4 CCA leaders here with us today. And to all our budding musicians out there, we hope you've gotten a much better picture of VJ performing arts, and hopefully you've been enticed with what the leaders have had to offer. And to all our dear listeners, thank you for tuning in to Faces of VJ and joining us today via Victoria. If you'd like to know more about VJC, do remember to visit our eOpen House website, Games website, and our YouTube channel to catch up on the previous podcast. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.